live today and every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 12 noon Central Standard Time, and 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Bring your questions.
On my YouTube channel, my YouTube channel, on my YouTube channel, on my YouTube channel. And please, if you could, subscribe to my YouTube channel, my YouTube channel. Yes. Ask the Good Doctor, LaJoyce Brookshire. Like, comment, and subscribe. Hello, I'm Dr. LaJoyce Brookshire. Welcome to Ask the Good Doctor. It's Wellness Wednesday. Thank you so much for being here on my YouTube channel, Hey. Listen, I'm in a really good mood today. It is almost spring, but we're still wearing turtlenecks on the mountain because it's the mountain. And it's still chilly in the morning, a little frost, but love this time of year. Welcome, everyone, to Ask the Good Doctor. Please join me on Twitter at Ask the Good Doc, on Instagram and Facebook at Ask the Good Doctor. I love taking your questions. In fact, that is what we're going to do today. But first, I want you to like that like button down below. And if you have not, please subscribe so you'll never miss an episode. Today, we are going to answer all of your questions. This is your questions that you have asked that I will answer. I love your questions asked and answered because I love answering questions. And I love this format because we're doing it in real time. The first thing I want to discuss is the one thing that's on a lot of people's minds. It is the pause that has been instituted by the FDA and the CDC for the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. A lot of people contacted me this morning, which they actually helped me program this show yesterday, by the way, helped me program this show by saying that they were scheduled to get their vaccine for the J&J vaccine this week. Now, a lot of people opted out for the one-shot vaccine, and J&J was offering that. And if you're going to get the vaccine, I don't much blame you for doing that. Now that this situation has arisen with people getting blood clots, I want to talk for a minute about the probability of how blood clots even could set up in the body. One of the things that helps a blood clot to form, of course, is the fact that there's not enough fluid moving things around the body. And in order for the body to flow like rivers of living water, it needs, in fact, plain water. You cannot move blood along. Blood is thick, it's sticky, it's heavy, and it gets heavier and stickier if you do not keep hydration present within the body. It starts to clump. It actually can pile up like a stack of nickels. That is called Rolu in the microscopic world of looking at cells and such. So the blood can develop clots when the body is not given what it needs. And one of the things that I always say, that the body needs good old H2O. It is nature's elixir. I would be very curious that within the women, and it was so far to this date, it is April 14th, Wednesday, April 14th. On this date, so far, there are 6 women who have come down with the blood clots very similarly from the J&J vaccine. I would be very curious as to know their lifestyles. I would like to know what was their hydration point. I would like to know what is their alkaline to acidity point. What is their pH level? I would like to know if they're smokers. I would like to know if, in fact, when was the last time they had hydration prior to receiving the shot, and what were their hydration techniques following the shot, if any. Some people have been saying that once they get their vaccines, the one thing that's a common denominator that I'm hearing people say is that it makes them very tired. And so they just want to lay down. They might have soreness in the arm site. That's the second thing, that they have soreness in the site where the vaccine was administered. And they would very much like to lay down. And so they're taking Tylenol and they're doing just that. They're taking themselves a nap or going to bed really early. So I would like to know, what is the common denominator in these women's health, the 6 women who have developed blood clots following the vaccine? That's the one thing. So I'm going to be listening closely for that. In fact, a panel of doctors and experts and scientists are coming together on this day to take a look at those kinds of things. I hope that this is what they're looking at as they galvanize around this table to try to assess what has occurred. Let me just say this: if you were going to get the vaccination, make sure you hydrate several days prior. So since they're making appointments for people, you know what day you're getting the vaccination. It's not like you're going to wake up and go stand in a line somewhere, because you must have an appointment. We are still in the midst of a pandemic, so they're issuing appointments. When you know that you're about to have your vaccine appointment, hydrate yourself thoroughly. Overhydrate with water, please. Do this for yourself so everything can just be moving. So it can just move easily through the body. And then following it. Oh, also another thing that is a common denominator with people who have had the vaccine, they're saying they're very thirsty. So for some people, it's making them thirsty. And I found that to be really interesting. So you want to basically rinse the body, just like if you have COVID, then you want to keep the body completely hydrated. So take your vitamins, take your supplements, hydrate, and get rest. Don't be overtired. And if you smoke, refrain from smoking before and after taking the vaccine. In fact, this would be a great opportunity to quit. Oh, I don't know if you have ever seen the movie with Al Pacino. It's a whistleblower movie on the cigarette industry, and it's called The Insider. It's a very old movie called The Insider. And boy, this movie just absolutely blows the whistle on the ingredients of smoking. So you do not want to combine the ingredients of the vaccine with the ingredients of a cigarette. Okay. And for some people, that may be detrimental in some kind of way. Kay Hayes is saying, I broke out with a Moderna rash at the place of injection. And that appears to be normal. That appears to be normal also, that people are breaking out. Thank you, Kay, for your comment that a lot of people are having some kind of reaction. My belief is that I think anyone who wants the vaccination and feels deeply within their spirit that they should get it, then get the vaccination. And I really believe that anybody who wants it should be able to get it. I don't want to play that nonsense with different communities cannot have it. This community can have it. That community cannot have it. I don't want to hear that. I believe that everyone who wants the vaccination should get it. And everybody has been asking, Dr. Brookshire, what do you think of the vaccination? Dr. Brookshire, are you getting the vaccination? Are you getting the vaccination? The answer for me and my house is no, we're not getting the vaccination, because we believe that the power that makes the body heals the body, and that's the Lord God Almighty himself. So we are standing on our religious right and our religious principles in terms of not defiling the body in any kind of way. And that's our choice. So for me, no. But for others, if this is what you want, you should be able to get it. And I'm trying to share some tips with you on how to make sure that when you get the vaccination, that you have the least amount of side effects. I had one of the students in my class who was bedridden for 3 days. That's the way she described it, as bedridden. And she came to class every day, but didn't had her camera on, and she sounded just listless. I just wanted to send her a hug. And I could tell when we were speaking after class that her mouth sounded like cotton. That, sometimes how you can hear every time a person opens their mouth, that is the cause of dehydration. And I said, honey, I don't care how badly you feel. You've got to get up and drink some water. You've got to have some water beside your bed. Take at least 4 ounces of that water every single hour. You've got to run this stuff out. Don't just lay there. Don't just surrender. If you have an adverse response to the vaccine, don't just surrender there, lay there and do nothing. Speaking of doing nothing, I want to speak to all of you who've decided, like me, that you're not taking the vaccine. Okay, great. If that's your decision. If you want to, yay. If you don't want to, yay. But if you don't want to, you cannot sit around and do nothing. Let me repeat myself. You cannot sit around and do nothing. You must absolutely, positively be proactive in your approach to your health against this thing that's still in the street. All right? One of the things that I strongly suggest you do is to vitamin up. Here, I've got a good little show and tell basket for you today. Power Pack, Trace Minerals. See that? Good. 1,200 milligrams of vitamin C. I love these little packages. They're effervescent. And just like Emergency, I don't mind saying publicly that I have had to step away from using Emergency because they now use fructose in their product. So fructose clogs the liver. And so I no longer have any relationship with Emergency, but instead I found these goodies. And the Trace Minerals, it fizzes up just like it, tastes like it. It has 200 more milligrams more than Emergency. This has 1,200 milligrams, and Emergency contains 1,000 milligrams per little package. And they come in orange and pomegranate and lemon lime and some acai, like the acai. And so we take these now. This is a dollop. You can also, of course, eat yourself organic oranges. Very important. And vitamin C also is very good for the blood. It also helps to keep the blood flowing well. So blood clots do not take residence within the body. Razy Santana said that I received the first dose of the Pfizer vaccine, and so far I have not had a bad reaction, but not all bodies react the same way. My brother had a bad reaction to that first dose. Thank you, Razy. That is very true. Not everyone does have a bad reaction, and some people do. The best way to avoid it is to ensure that you are strong going in. Don't ever be weakened. I know someone who had just come out of having COVID, and he went to get his vaccine probably 2 weeks later, and he admittedly was not strong yet. In fact, he was still sort of working part-time and just still coughing bouts and that kind of thing, even though he tested negative. And he said that it almost killed him, that he didn't die, of course, but he felt awful. And I said, well, let's take a look at what you just said. You just said that going into the vaccine, you were only post-COVID 2 weeks. That, I believe, is too soon. Okay. You have not fortified your immune system to be able to receive the vaccine. Jahira says, when my mom got her shot, they also told her to work out the arm a little to make sure the vaccine flowed through her body. Oh, interesting. That's a new one. I haven't heard that one before, but thank you for that comment. Yes, different people are being told different things in different places. For instance, my good friend, Nanette, shout out to Nanette. She's usually watching. Hi. Nanette said that when she went to get the vaccine right here in our little small hometown, that someone made a comment in the line, I don't know which vaccine I'm getting today. And then she said, she kind of looked, what do you mean by that? And he was making the statement saying that they told me it doesn't matter what vaccine I get the second time. That's what I said. She said, that's what I said too. And she made a ruckus in the place because she said, you tell me right now, if I'm getting the vaccine today, whatever vaccine I get today, I want that vaccine the next time I come back. I'm not taking it. And then everybody was kind of like, me either, me either. So, and you know what? I am glad to hear that she made a little stink about that, because that was the best thing ever. Pay attention to what you're receiving. It's just like when you go to the beauty salon. Oh, girl, your hair looks so nice. What is she using your hair? I don't know. You don't know. I've been just too nosy. If it smells good, I'm like, let me see what you're using. I look at it. Oh, good. I read the ingredients. Oh, that sounds nice. Yes, use that next time. What kind of conditioner is that? Let me see. What kind of vaccine is that? Let me see. Okay? I want you to look. There's a green label, there's a green tab and a blue tab. Make note of it so that you can understand that you're getting the same thing the next time you go back. My curiosity is piqued because I'm really wondering if in some places, sadly, if some people are receiving the second dose and it's not the same. If some people are actually receiving a second dose and they're just like, come on, whatever's next. Because my friend who runs a vaccine clinic, she's a nurse. Shout out to Kara, one of those nurses on the front line, Nurse Winslow. And she said that when you open the vial, 12 people have to be ready to receive that vaccine. And that's why the appointments have to be carefully calculated. So when people don't show up, they're literally running around trying to see whom else they can get before the time it times out, in essence. So because it has to be kept at a certain temperature. So 12 people in a row for every vial. So my curiosity is piqued when I heard Nanette say that someone was saying, oh, it doesn't matter what vaccine you get. That's what they told me. I'm wondering in how many places is this being done? Not only that, but I'm wondering how many people who got sick on their second doses received something different than they did the first time. Just wondering. It's the kind of thing that makes you wonder. I'm just saying, if you're going to do it, be safe about it. Armand said, my dad uses emergency. Maybe I'll tell him to get those, and said, yes, Armand, do that. Definitely. Carolina said, the second dose should be the same vaccine as the first one. When I got my first dose, they told me what it was. So when I got my second dose, it would be the same vaccine. That's right. That's the way it should be. Brittany said, I want to get vaccinated. I'm awaiting my appointment, but these side effects throw me off a bit, especially since I haven't gotten COVID yet. Oh, Brittany, change your language, darling. Don't say COVID. I haven't gotten COVID yet. Don't get COVID. We got things to help you not get COVID ever. 97% of the people who get COVID can recover. And then there are a group of people whose immune systems are strong enough who will never get COVID. I'll say my own story once again, that I'm a woman who was exposed to a husband who had full-blown AIDS, and I did not get it. And AIDS, of course, is a virus. AIDS is a virus. COVID is a virus. The common cold is a virus. I don't remember the last time I had a cold. So this is a possibility that we can be strong enough and not get sick. I personally have never had the flu ever in my whole entire life. And I'm kissing, none of your business, all that, but it's okay. I don't mind. I am 58 years old and I have never had the flu. Never, ever, ever. So it's absolutely possible to be well enough and for the immune system to be strong enough for you to never get it. Okay. Or if you do, you'll experience nothing harsher than cold-like symptoms. All right. Now, we got some more questions here. Oh, Anderson said, I received the first dose of the Pfizer vaccine and my arm was hurting for a few days. Yes. And Jahira said, I never got the flu either. Absolutely. Never got the flu either. Yay for those of us who've never gotten the flu. So we can do that. So we're going to take some vitamin C. That's what we're going to do. And we're also going to use this little spray. Who said that? Brittany. just in case if you ever do get COVID, you can use this spray called ViraStan right here. Comes in a 4-pack. This 4-pack is $79. It's 2 1-ounce packs for you to take with you on the go and 2 2-ounce packs. And you can share these. $79 for the 4 of these. It's a botanical spray. ViraStan was tested in the same lab that the CDC uses called Microbac. There is a white paper. We had Dr. Rajan right here to have the conversation about why this works by killing COVID in two minutes. 2 minutes. It kills COVID. And it was tested in the lab that the CDC uses. So there are things like this that are out there, and it is very effective, safe, 0 side effects, made from botanicals, from flavonoids, and listen, like grapefruit. Now, some people say, well, I'm allergic to grapefruit, or I take high blood pressure medication, so I can't take grapefruit. This is not going to harm you. If you are allergic to grapefruit and you walk through a grapefruit grove, it will not bother you. Or where grapefruits are grown, it will not bother you. Same as with ViraStan. It will not bother you. You spray this spray in the air, purifies the air. When I have to go back to teach school, go back to the college classroom, I'm taking this spray with me. I will be spraying my classrooms with this, and I will be spraying myself with this. You could spray the front of your mask with it. You could even spray it on your face. Don't get it in your eyes, though, because it may sting. And you can even spray it in your mouth. There's a testimony, nothing better than a testimony on the show that I did with Dr. Rajan, speaking about ViraStan. He calls it the invisible mask. The woman said that she sprayed it in her mouth. She was coughing so bad she could not string one sentence together. And she sprayed it in her mouth, and in 4 minutes, she has not coughed again from that day to this. Now, it also helped her. She has not had long-term residual effects. Will she say she doesn't know if she attributes that to this or not? And Dr. Rajan said he doesn't know if it attributes to taking the ViraStan or not. But I will tell you something that can attribute to reducing the long-term effects, and that is beta carotene and garlic. And of course, beta carotene. And this is a dietary supplement. And you take this. This is at least what these I use. This brand is pretty good. I like that brand. And garlic. Okay. Garlic was nature's first antibiotic. And these two things together create a powerful, very powerful blend of, it kicks COVID in the behind. That's what it does. And so when you put the two of them together, if you have any kind of liver issue, cirrhosis, fatty liver, anything, liver cancer, do not take beta carotene. Take vitamin A instead. Okay? So you take 16 of these, 16 beta carotene and 12 garlic. The people who have had to put on this protocol, this is not prevention. This is only if you have COVID. Now, the people who have put on this protocol, let me tell you something. Every single one of them report that their recovery has been beautiful. They do not feel like they have any residual side effects at all, because some people are reporting that they're long haulers. And I understand that the long haulers have a lot of different side effects. They're winded a lot. They can't barely walk up a flight of steps when they used to run 5 miles, those kinds of things. The people who took this are reporting that they don't have any of those issues. So I am very glad to hear that. And so people even who have come through COVID but still have a COVID side effect, I'm putting them on this cocktail, and they are saying that, wow, it's unbelievable how they are feeling currently. Let me get to some of your questions here. Armand said, I didn't even know you can't catch AIDS if your immune system is strong. No, you can't. If your immune system is up, then you can't catch the virus because it's a virus. Speaking of AIDS, I want to say something. One thing that's not being discussed that is making me furious is that COVID is sexually transmissible. Hear me. COVID can be transmitted through sex. Yes, it can. Why is that? Because if we're wearing a mask to protect ourselves from droplets, then the spit is containing the virus. If you kiss someone and you're swapping spit and don't have enough information, like, have you been tested for COVID? Or do you know whether or not you have COVID? Or have you had COVID? Be careful who you swap spit with before you swap information. Same if you're having sex. You need to know the status, the COVID status of your partner, in addition to the HIV status of your partner. You need to know both. It is essential that you do. Your life depends on it. Okay? Viruses are transmitted through fluids, which is exactly why we have the numbers that we have, transmissible in that way. The droplets, inhalation through the nose, through the eyes, through the ears, okay? Through a cut on your hand, perhaps, and through the vagina or the penis. Understand that. So you should know, be careful. Mia said, this is crazy. Yeah, this is crazy, right, Mia? Razy said, I was exposed to COVID and I never had it because of the care I had on my part. But taking the vaccine does not mean that it will give us COVID, but that if we get it, it will not affect us so much, so they say. I hope so. I really hope that is the truth. I really hope that the vaccine is everything that they say it is, because we cannot afford to lose that many people who are taking the vaccine. I can't afford to lose anybody else to anything. Okay. That's enough. I really just hope that it boosts the immune system like they say, but the stuff I'm doing boosts my immune system too. And I'm choosing to rely on what I'm doing. I'm not changing course right now because I'm good. I'm staying where I am because it's good. And I just hope that the people who have taken the vaccine, one thing that you should understand, you do know that if you have the vaccine, you still have to wear your mask. Yes. If you have the vaccine, you still have to social distance. Yes. If you have the vaccine, you still need to wash your hands and be careful about who you're with. Yes. And I personally wouldn't be around people unmasked if I didn't know who they were or what their status is. Okay. Just take every precaution. That's all I'm saying, is take every precaution. We are going to go to a commercial break. And when we come back, I've got more for you about your questions that you have asked that I will answer. And we're going to start with the truth telling. Don't go away. We'll be back after this. We have the power to heal. Amen. Our bodies have the power to do exactly what it was created to do. All we have to do is give it what it needs.
You can't tell me that there is a community with more ingenuity and innovation and talent. Can't make me believe it. I know it. I've seen it.
Very, very challenging, but yet fun. I had a great time, as you can see. So this is a great workout for me. Also, Dr. Joyce.
Okay, Dante.
Oh, yeah. Sure.
It was amazing.
See what can happen when people inspire you? Inspire someone you know.
motivationally speaking, you really need to know your net worth. Because I mean, if you don't track it, then you don't know where you're at and where you'd like to be.
My entire life, I've seen what our generations have had to come down and go through and still have been able to make it. I don't believe that anybody else would have made it what we've made.
You got to bring the best person I know, folks, to come to educate to the training. She teaches, she cares. Phenomenal folks.
But if you've been listening to Dr. Brookshire, I'm sure you've heard a lot about detoxification.
There's really a water crisis out there, and a lot of people are not educated. A lot of people actually really dying from just drinking their local tap water.
I just want to thank everybody for coming out.
I was grateful when LaJoyce asked that I could come and talk to you guys. We've had one session. I don't believe I traumatized you guys too bad.
Dr. Brookshire, thank you so much for this weekend.
And that's the Wellness Warriors Weekend Getaway in Vermont coming up this June. And we literally have one room left. That's it. That's all. So this will be the last week you see that promo. Well, we might show you a little promo to tease what we're going to be doing there. Yay. So we want to thank all of you all who are showing up. And next year, you can join us for the Wellness Warriors Weekend Getaway. We're going to be going to a fabulous resort in Colorado. Oh, can't wait. Looking forward to it. It's called the Garden of the Gods, and it is amazing. So welcome back to Ask the Good Doctor on Wellness Wednesday. We want you to like, comment, and subscribe, and please share this for everyone who may have some concerns. So if you can't get your J&J shot, keep your immune system up until maybe they bring it back at some point. But if not, perhaps you may want to sign up for the other or not. It's totally up to you. I want you to understand something, though. You have to first to thy own self be true. And Mia saying here, I keep hearing how good garlic is for you. Garlic is amazing immune booster, and it helps to squash inflammation. And Maria said, I agree with Mia. A lot of spicy and hot drinks and foods are needed to expel viruses, just like any other inflammation or sickness. So true. Yes, absolutely. The body is loaded with inflammation, and garlic is an inflammation fighter. So get on board with it. And it's natural. It's from God's pharmacy, so it cannot hurt you. It's right out there from the earth. And those things, there is something to cure every single disease in nature. And if you have not found it, you have not looked hard enough. And most of scientists say that because it is 100% the truth. Speaking of the truth, one of the things that I want to talk to you about, some people are saying that they are feeling pretty badly these days. They're feeling badly because they're overloaded with the news. They're overburdened with grief, and they can't hide from the grief anymore. They can't hide from the news that's being paraded in front of our eyes consistently of Black men killed repeatedly who are unarmed. And it's taking a toll on people of all colors. And people are feeling shell-shocked, not knowing what to do, trying to fake like it's not bothering them, but really it's bothering them. They're swallowing it and not moving on. So the one thing that I want you to do is to understand that you must stand in your truth no matter what it is, because standing in your truth is the only thing that's going to make you free. And I have a clip here from one of the most dynamite speakers I know, named Lisa Nichols, who's going to share one of her amazing tips with you to do just that.
Number one, define in your own terms, in your own language, what makes you happy. So often we're chasing someone else's version of happiness. We're chasing what media and society and what the masses say makes us happy. Well, define it for you. What makes you happy? What type of relationship? Wait, What type of friendships make you happy? What type of family, what type of encounters in your family make you happy? What kind of romantic experiences? These are all very big, by the way. There's not one answer to any one. There's like a list of answers to each one. What type of physical experience make you happy? What kind of environmental experiences make you happy? What makes you happy? What makes you happy? Travel? Is it rest? Is it lounging? Is it hiking? Is it trying new adventures? One new adventure each year. What makes you happy? Define happiness for you. Because if you don't define your happiness, someone else is going to define it for you.
Ha! If you cannot define your happiness, someone else will define it for you. Thank you, Lisa. That was an absolute mouthful. I bring this point up because I have a barrage of comments that I could read to you, or questions that I could read to you about how can I get rid of this overwhelming grief? How can I move through the grief that I'm feeling? How can I move through the sadness that I'm feeling? And the one thing that I say that I agree with Lisa about is choose your happy. Choose your happy. The one thing that I have decided to do for myself is I needed to move away from New York City. I needed to quit telling myself the lie that I was thriving. I wasn't thriving, I was surviving. It was squashing my spirit. And I took a weekend trip to the Poconos, and I've never left, basically. I've been in the Pocono Mountains ever since, and it's been going on 30 years that I've been in the Pocono Mountains, and I'm thankful for that one weekend trip because my spirit was craving it, and I didn't even know it until I got here. And I said, once I found it, I could never let it go again. And I have not. I always say they're going to bury me out in the backyard somewhere, and I don't even care where, under a tree. And I will be just fine with that. I will be okay with that. Find your happy, define your happy. The other thing that I knew I had to do was I had to let go of watching the news before going to bed. Oh my goodness. So many people say that they can't sleep. And when I ask them the question, let me ask you, do you watch the news before sleeping? That people say they toss and turn and they're troubled all night. How about we stop watching the news before you go to sleep? How about you watch an episode of I Love Lucy or Andy Griffith or, Family Feud before you go to sleep? Before you go to sleep, find something that brings you joy, not something that's going to potentially make you sad. And if you want to hear what the weather is going to be, my goodness, put on the Weather Channel. That used to be a lot of people's excuse. I need to know what the weather's going to be. Not with the Weather Channel, you don't. Not with that little fancy device in your hand, you don't. You have the weather at your fingertips. Ask Google, ask Alexa what the weather will be tomorrow. She'll tell you. We have to let go of all of those things that could potentially sadden us, because those are the things that bring about you living in a lie and telling a lie and swallowing lies when you say you feel good when you don't. I want to show you this as well about this woman who found it necessary that she stopped living her lies.
So living a lie inevitably results in a crash and burn. It inevitably results in failure. Now, while you can't stop that entirely, I want to give you 3 tips to minimize the damage so that you can get yourself back into the truth and out of those lies, because the sooner, the better. Number 1, get a reality check. You're either going to do this for yourself or life is going to provide you with that opportunity. But when life provides that opportunity, it usually comes through a really harsh reality check lesson. So help yourself minimize the damage by increasing your awareness and doing a reality check. A few years ago, you might have seen a video that I did on the holographic prison bars. That's how we lock ourselves in a prison that doesn't really exist. Those bars aren't real. It's all in our mind. I want to remind you to check out that video if you haven't seen it. I'll link that up here in the corner for you. So if you're living behind those holographic prison bars, chances are you don't want to recognize toxic behavioral patterns of your own. Now, those don't have to be necessarily manipulative or hurtful to others. They could be simply destructive to yourself, compromising your own health, sanity, and well-being. This could be the fog, that fear, obligation, and guilt that you feel towards family members, relationships, social contacts, work situations. This could be a toxic relationship that you're still maintaining, a soul-sucking job, or even self-sabotage behaviors. Now, self-sabotage is the way that we lie to ourselves. We make up stories about how life is against us, how nothing ever goes right for us, how we don't deserve to be successful or happy in life. But in reality, it's just a lie. So if you want to overcome those self-sabotage behaviors, check out the course that I have. I'll put the link up here in the corner. It's called Ending Self-Sabotage.
End your self-sabotage today by standing in your truth. Define what makes you uncomfortable, and whatever that is, walk away from it. Turn around and walk away in the opposite direction. It's just like a relationship with food, but this is a relationship with your emotions that you must cultivate. This is the mind, body, spirit part of the work of being a naturopath, because we must engage in it all. Because if we are paying attention to one aspect of it without addressing all three, we have failed. I encourage you to investigate what throws you off center. And whatever it is, leave it alone. Do not lie about it. Your body will betray you eventually when you lie. And here's the reason why. The body is defenseless against the lie. So maybe if you all have seen these little tricks that people do at parties, it was a little party trick many years ago. And if you put your arm out and say, somebody says, what's your name? LaJoyce. Try to push down my arm. Now, you can't do it to yourself, okay? Try to push down my arm and my arm won't budge because my name is LaJoyce. What's your name? Susie. It will cave. What's your name? Veronica. It will cave. The body is defenseless against a lie. Just try it in your household and just see if this works for you. The same is true with holding a product. You can hold the product because everything has energy. And whether or not this product is for you or not, you can hold your arm out. If it's strong, you don't need this. If it's weak, hurry up and buy it. Okay? This is also how you can tell whether or not you need something as well. So the body is defenseless against the lie. When you keep engaging in the lies of saying you're okay when you're not okay, and it may sound cliche, it's okay not to be okay, but really, it's okay not to be okay. I have come, right before I started doing this YouTube show, I came on the airwaves on Sirius XM on my show and wept because I encountered a situation where I was just taking a morning walk like I always do with my dog. And I heard somebody wailing a death cry through the trees. And it wrecked my spirit. So it is okay to say you're not okay. Stop pretending, because when you swallow that truth, it goes down into the colon area, and then you cannot digest your food. It's like a lump in your throat. You know, when you keep swallowing, that lump in your throat, that's you really wanting to say something. Whatever it is, say it. That's why right here in this area, okay, which is the thyroid, right? This is why 99.3% of people with thyroid disorders are women. Because women are more apt to swallow their truth, to live a lie, than men. So when I hear that a man left a family, or a man just left a woman, or the woman left the husband and her children, I'm sad for that the family unit is destructed. I am. I'm sad that the family unit is destroyed, because the enemy wants nothing more than to have the family unit destroyed. But on the other side, as a practitioner, I have to tell you that I say bravo to the person who knew that they couldn't do it another day. You have to decide for yourself what you couldn't do another day. Is it a sabotaging job? What does she call it? A soul-sucking job. Oh, we all had a soul-sucking job. I had a soul-sucking job one time, and I took it just for the money. And I'm telling you, I'll never do anything just for money again. And God promised me that if you do what you love, do what you're skilled for, I promise you, you will always be blessed and you'll never have to do anything just for money again. And that promise has been kept to me. And I just say that, okay, Leandra said, that hit different when you called out to stop being self-destructive, because I tend to do it all the time in my relationships, in my schoolwork, everywhere. And here's what's interesting about that, Leandra. When it's something that you do, that you find yourself doing, you do it everywhere. It's not compartmentalized to just over here and over here. It shows up a little bit everywhere. It may not be so much to the extreme in one place or another, but it does. It eventually shows up absolutely everywhere. So tell yourself the truth. Stand in the mirror and say, I am well. Stand in the mirror and tell yourself you are beautiful. That's my mantra. I am well. I am wealthy. I am brilliant. I am beautiful. I am Black girl magic. That's what I tell myself. And some days I believe it and some days I don't, but I say it anyway. I tell myself it. I tell it to myself. I tell it to myself, no matter what. Find something, find 4 phrases to tell yourself. Encourage yourself. Positive self-talk, okay? We have to speak over our own lives. We have to give ourselves positive self-speak, because sometimes no one tells us anything positive, and it has to start with you. So I want you to avoid living in the lie that you may think you're entangled with, but you don't have to be. It may cost you something, but if you don't deal with it today, it may not happen tomorrow, but 10 years from now, it will cost you so much more. And I promise you, when you cannot digest your food, that undigested food gets trapped in the colon and it starts floating out all over the body. And if you cannot digest your food, you can't poop. People who are chronically constipated, they're either dehydrated or they have emotional trauma. Yes, ask, figure it out, promise you, guarantee it. And that's not okay. So when that food starts floating out all over the body, if it attaches itself to the myelin sheath, it becomes MS. If it attaches itself to the lungs, it becomes sarcoidosis. If it attaches itself to the skin pigmentation, it becomes vitiligo. And on and on and on with every autoimmune disease. To the connective tissue, it's lupus. So that's something to be thinking about. Every time someone has an autoimmune disease, I ask them at the point of their diagnosis, or around the time of the diagnosis, or right before, can they remember what happened in their life that was hard for them to swallow? What was hard to digest? Because you can't swallow a lie. You cannot digest it. It is undigestible. Think about that. A lie is undigestible. And you may think you get away with it for a little while, but one day it will come back to bite you. So speaking of the bite, one of the things that has been a result of this pandemic is the second pandemic that will ultimately occur following the pandemic, and that is diabetes. Yeah. Diabetes is also already raging as the second pandemic that has come about because of the pandemic. What did people do when we were home quarantining? Well, I know what we did. I did a whole lot of good cooking. My daughter channeled her inner Betty Crocker. We'd get up in the middle of the night to use the bathroom and she'd be baking up a storm. Okay? This was happening on a regular basis. And I was like, girl, don't cook any more of that. Okay, give me a piece. Okay, just a piece. And I pieced myself all the way to 12 pounds. I gained 12 pounds during quarantine. And I'm cooking really good food, not unhealthy stuff, but really good stuff. But just eating too much of it, just too much of it. binge watching Netflix 8 hours a day. Yeah, I was doing it. Sure enough, everybody was. So for the people who were not eating the healthy foods and were eating the unhealthy foods, they say that junk food consumption has skyrocketed during the season of COVID. And that is because people are satiating themselves with food. They're satiating themselves. It's the comfort of those foods, the foods of our youth, Twinkies and potato chips and Mike and Ike's and Milk Duds and Raisinets and all kinds of cinnamon buns and honey buns and honeydews. I say use a honeydew instead of a honey bun. But those are the things that people have been eating, and those sales have skyrocketed. You could not find junk food in the daggone grocery store during quarantine. Everything that I wanted, all the organic spinach and organic apples, all that stuff was there. All of that junk food stuff. My daughter was like, Dad, I wanted a bag of chips. No chips. So people satiated themselves during quarantine, and they're finding themselves on the other side diabetic. Here is a product called UnCarb. Can you see that? It is also made by the same people who make the ViraStan. And the people who make this UnCarb, this is helping people gain back their independence from being attached to medicine or for their sugar levels that are so high, and even helping people who are insulin dependent. So UnCarb, I have it in the description down below. It says ViraStan. I'll change it to include UnCarb. But now is the time to get a checkup. Now is the time to spring clean. We're in the middle of the season. And if you feel like you've been a little sluggish, or if you know you didn't do the right thing while we're on quarantine, and you know you want to get into the summer and get back at it and get back out there, or if you know that your immune system just needs a little bit of help, or maybe even a lot of help, I want you to understand that there is no such thing as an incurable disease. I want you to say that with me. There is no such thing as an incurable disease. For every disease, there is a cure, and it's in nature. And if you have not found it, it's because you have not looked hard enough yet. So I encourage you, if you want, if you're interested, I'm offering a spring special, a spring clean special, and that is going to be $50 off of my regular price. Click down below, send me an email and say, I want an appointment, and I will schedule for you a 1-hour phone consultation. Okay? It has been my pleasure to be with you today. I didn't nearly get to all of the questions that I wanted to, and we're going to do Ask Your Questions Asked and Answered every single month, because I think that it's very important to be able to do that. So thank you so much for joining us. I am Dr. LaJoyce Brookshire, and I want to thank my team, IW supervising producer Chris Green, technical producer, and the announcer DJ Indy. Remember to let your eyes shine, cut back on the wine, get good food fast, and go easy on the greasy. Until next time, I'm Dr. LaJoyce Brookshire, here to help you attain and maintain your perfect health. Let's do it again next week, okay? God bless you.